All right, Math Leaguers, here are some midweek hints to a few of the problems. I just picked out a couple of problems. Number 2, number 3, not much of a hint there, but I need to make you aware of something. Let's see, number 11 and 12 and 19. So 5 of them that I'm giving you hints for, really one of them not much of a hint. And then I'm also going to talk about your midweek challenge for bonus points. All right. So the first one is number 2. It says on your paper, the problems. The sum of two numbers is 4. The difference of two numbers is 10. What's their product? So to find their product, when you multiply them, you first got to find out what the numbers are. So I just made a very similar problem. This one's a little easier. The one that I gave you is a little harder. But the sum is 2, the difference is 8. So what are the two numbers? Well, if some of you haven't had much algebra background, here's a really quick, easy algebra trick. If you have had it, or even if you haven't, just do this. We'll call the two numbers x and y. So if the sum is 2, x plus y is 2. If the difference is 8, x minus y is 8. You're allowed, it's kind of weird, to line up these two equations in algebra and then combine them with like terms. X's with x's, y's with y's, regular numbers with regular numbers. I'm going to add them together. X plus x is 2x. And then y plus negative y makes nothing. So the y's disappear, and then 2 plus 8 is 10. So if 2x's is 10, then x is 5. And then what do you have to add to 5 to get 2? Well, it's got to be a negative number because it's got to come down. So y is negative 3. You can just kind of do that in your head. And then it's what's the product? Well, you just multiply them. Now, if you didn't know algebra and you just kind of wanted to start guessing and checking, you could say, look, the difference is 8. There's two numbers, integers. There's two, and you say, like, all right, let me try, I don't know, like 1 and 9, okay? But when you add them together, you're going to get 10. All right, let me try 2 and 10. Well, when you add them together, you're going to get 12. So you realize that you can't get a sum of 2 unless one of these is negative. And then you start playing around, like negative 1 and 7. That's a difference of 8, a distance of 8, but the sum is 6. When you add them together, it's 7 and a negative 1. And you just keep playing around until you get these numbers. All right, so that's another way of doing it. And then don't forget to get the product at the end. Number 3 is, I would definitely say, the hardest question on this week. So I'm gonna let you guys suffer with that a little bit. One of the things that I sent you at the very beginning of this thing is this list of things you should memorize, special triangles, special right triangles, and things like that. What I wanted to tell you about this is go by the information given, not by the appearance. And here's what I mean. It says that these two lines bisect these angles, okay? And it's a rectangle, so this is 90 degrees. If this bisects, this has to be 45 degrees, which means this has to be 45 degrees, which means that sheet that I gave you in a 45, 45, 90 right triangle, these two side lengths are the same. Now, when you get into like high school geometry, you'll learn why. But just know, if it's 45 and 45 and 90, if this is 5, this is 5. Okay? Now, the problem is, if you look at the picture, if this is 12, this kind of looks like it's more than 12, but it's not. So that's a helpful hint, okay? The 45, 45, 90 triangle. All right. And then, there's people outside my door singing. That's okay. So that's really the only hint I'm going to give you on number 3. That's a really hard question. Number 11 is one of these clock problems. And the problem that people have with clock problems is I don't even know, like, where can you find a regular analog clock anymore? But anyway, you guys can read clocks. If it's 1:40, that's not the time I gave on the sheet, but I gave a different problem. 1:40, it means that the hour hand is between 1 and 2, and the minute hand is at 40, right? Okay, well, here's the easiest way to do that. There's 12 spaces going around the clock. It's 360 degrees around, so every gap between every 2 numbers is 30 degrees. So like, oh, that's easy. But here's the hard part to remember. The hour hand, if it's 1:40, the hour hand is not pointed directly at 1. It's because 40 out of 60, it's 2/3 of the way, because 40 minutes is 2/3 of the way to another hour. So if this is 30, then this remaining piece is 10. And this piece here is 20. Okay? And then you could just literally count up, like from here, from the angle formed by the 2 hands. That's 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, plus the extra 10, that's 190. But wait a minute, what if we went the other way? What about that angle? Because it really looks almost like 180. Well, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, and 20 is 170. I would take it either way. Now, I gave you a very different problem, but if this was what I asked, I would take either one of these. Number 12, I asked you what number is 2/3 of the way between 2 decimals. So I gave a similar problem. What number is 1/6 of the way between these 2 decimals? All right, so first let's break down what these 2 decimals are. That's 4/10, 1 8/10, which is 1 4/5. 4/10 is 2/5. Here's a number line, okay? So what's the distance between these? Well, the distance between 0.4 and 1.8 is 1.4, or 1 4/10, which reduces to 1 2/5, which can be written as 7/5. Okay? Now, what's 1/6 of this distance? Well, of is time, so 1/6 times that distance is 7/30. Okay? So a sixth of the distance between here is 7/30, but that's not the answer. We have to then add the 7/30 to the 2/5, and we're just adding fractions, get a common denominator, and there you go. So again, not the problem I gave, but similar to the problem I gave. And then finally, this last one, number 19, I don't even know if I'm on camera here, but I'm not remaking this video. You got it says, it's a rectangle, it's got a base of this and a height of that, and what is the sum of the diagonals of that rectangle? Well, I'm just giving you a different one. If it had a base of 5 and a height of 12, what would be the sum of those two? Well, as you go along in math, you have to, the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared is c squared, where a and b are the straight legs of a right triangle and c is the slanty hypotenuse. You gotta know that, okay? So 5 is a straight leg, 5 squared, 25, 12 squared, 144 is c squared, okay? And then if some number squared is 169, 25 and 144 is 169, then 13 times 13. So this length is 13, and then of course this length would be 13. So the sum of the two diagonals would be 26. However, you should know 5, 12, 13, 3, 4, 5, 8, 15, 7. There's some special ones on the right triangles that always come out. It was on a sheet that I sent you guys at the very beginning. So anyway, hope that helps. Oh, and then this week's little challenge, midweek challenge. You go to archidemics.com. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 games: puppy chase, orbit integers, drag race division, or speedway. Now they're younger games. I mean, they're designed for like 5th, 6th graders. Some of you are like 8th graders, but it's all about speed. It's like a video game. So what you do is you go there, you try to play, and you try to get on one of the leaderboards. After your game, you scroll down and you can see if you made it onto the leaderboard. Take a picture, screenshot of your leaderboard, and if you're on the leaderboard, you get extra points. If you are number 1 on the leaderboard, you get extra points. All right? So it won't be able to fit your whole player name on there. So just when you send me the picture, say, like, if you're Bob123 or something like that, say that's who you are and say that you're on the leaderboard. Okay? I'm going to trust you that it's you. All right, have a great week, and we'll see you later.